Hello, hello. I have a special guest I'm bringing on, as you know, like some of my favorite clients that I've worked with. And we're just going to talk about, like you've probably heard in some other episodes, just talking about their story, our work together, and just a little bit deeper dive into how like their story and their speaking and their business model has changed over the past couple of years. So let me introduce to you one of my favorite clients. She is in one of my ongoing programs, In Demand, which is a monthly membership. And actually it's more like a yearly membership for Sandy because she's been in since the beginning. So let me just introduce Sandy. Hello, hello. I'm so glad that you're here and that we're going to talk about your story. Let's just start there. Let's share about your story.
Okay, well, this is exciting. This is really fun for me to be able to do this. I call my story my defining moment. And it came as I wrote my first book, Selma's Spirit, A Story of Love and Forgiveness. And it's my journey of healing from living in a very violent childhood. And so I realized this story that I had, I couldn't keep secret. So at the age of 50, everything kind of came crashing together. And I thought, I need to do something about this. And so it was making peace with that story that made me realize that I could help other people do that as well. So I've been doing that for almost 25 years.
Wow.
And I realized that people suffer so much at their own hands. There's plenty of
Yes.
suffering in the world, but they suffer a lot at their own hands by negative thinking, by these false beliefs that aren't true. And it just really dictates where they're going. And I realized that I could help with that. I did it in my own life and I could help people do it so they can get to where they're going. And working with you was part of my evolution to keep, I have to keep ahead of my clients, right?
Right.
And and also I have to, I want to keep learning because this business keeps changing.
It does. And I just kind of want to go back to the part where you basically were like, I got to tell my story, but it was because it's going to heal me, but it's also going to serve other people to hear your story. I think that's so powerful.
I think I wrote it for myself with the idea that if this helps one person, it would be all worth it. I didn't realize just how powerful telling your own story is and how many people it really does affect because they can see themselves or a piece of themselves.
They can definitely see themselves in stories. And like as speakers, I always say that the reason why we tell stories is so that our audience can picture themselves in our story, or in your violent childhood, if somebody who's listening to your story, they may not have experienced that, but we all know somebody who has experienced something like that. So whether it's, oh my God, this happened to me, or oh my God, this happened to like my best friend, like we can just see ourselves in stories. They're so powerful. But I love how your story is just so healing.
Well, and even if it's not the exact same story, a lot of people have enough similarities that they can get something out of it. Maybe they weren't abused, maybe it wasn't violent, but maybe they did have someone in their life that was domineering or didn't treat them well, and they can still find enough in that story.
Right. What started you speaking?
I never, I never ever thought that I would speak in front of anybody. But after I wrote this book, do we have time for a little story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I was working at a church. And in fact, I had just been hired at this church, and the church decided that they were going to partner with Lutheran Social Service to fund a house for kids who were homeless.
Mhm.
And so they took it to the board, and the board didn't, said, oh, yeah, we can give them a little bit of money. And the pastor came to me, knowing my background, and said, you and I both know this isn't good enough. Said, we are going to pledge $50,000 a year to this. So, and you need to tell your story. And I said, no, 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 nope,
Nope, nope, and no. Did you catch that? No.
no. But I did.
So
And
before you go on, I mean, were you just like, I've never spoken before, I'm scared of speaking?
oh my gosh. And I was speaking with a guy from Lutheran Social Service. So I said to him, I said, we are going to have a little bit of a code. And if I go like this, that means I can't do it. And you're going to speak first, and I'll speak second because I need a way out. And so then he called the day before and he said, I'm sorry, Sandy, you're speaking first. And I almost said, we're done here. We're done here. But I didn't. And that is what led me to a ton of speaking. And every time I spoke, I got a little bit better. And every time I realized the power of this story. And sometimes it was for people to give money. Sometimes it was just as a healing story. And I became a spokesman for Lutheran Social Service. I was a spokesman for this project that they were doing. And it was just, and that's how I started to speak.
Wow. I really do believe that sometimes our story is bigger than our fear of speaking and of sharing that story. And it's like, it's almost like what they say, like, find a big enough why and you'll do it. But I really do think, like, your story can be that powerful. And it's like, I have to do. And also, I think, like, there's a voice inside. I know a lot of my clients will say this, that there's a voice inside of them that just says, I have to share this.
I'm not sure I had that. I think the fear was bigger.
It was bigger. Okay.
But I do think you're right, Laurie. I think there was a piece inside of me that knew this was too important not to do. And then when you see what came from it, I mean, our church was a partner for almost 8 years. We do a fundraiser, and we'd probably raised $25,000 on a Sunday afternoon. It was a cause that everyone could get behind because I think they felt compassion, and some of them had been there themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, otherwise I would have never, ever seen myself as a speaker. Yeah, I don't think I ever would have.
Right. So it's almost like you started speaking and telling a story, you're healing. Where did the book come in? Was the book before you started speaking?
The first book I have 2 books. So the first book was Selma's Spirit, A Story of Love and Forgiveness, A Journey to Peace. It's kind of a mouthful. But that came first, and the speaking came after.
Okay.
And then the second book is 2.5 years old, I think. And it's all of my blog posts. Mm-hmm. And so it's, I have it here. It's Change Your Perspective, Change Your Life.
Wonderful.
52 ways to take action.
Love it. Love it. And, with one of the things that we've worked on is, like, when you're telling a story and then it's, you're sharing with the audience the lessons that you want them to walk away with.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I talk about is that depending on who's in the audience will dictate what lessons you're going to share with them. And I'm sure, so that's what I'm asking. When you tell your story, because a lot of times we as speakers, like we tell the same story again and again and again, but sometimes we just have different lessons that we want people to walk away with. Has that been successful for you? Do you do that?
Yeah, not at first I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're one of the things that you say is that when you're going to be in front of an audience, whether it's doing a Facebook Live or whatever it's going to be, that don't worry about getting it perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it. And I think for me, speaking was the just do it piece of it. And then after I learned how to structure the story, what I wanted people to get out of it, the right length, and all of that kind of thing. So, yeah, and I do tailor what I say depending upon who I'm talking to. And I don't tell the story much anymore. I more talk about how they can change their thought patterns, how they can be resilient, how they can do all of those other things.
That's wonderful. And that's so needed, especially today. Especially
Post
actually
COVID. Yeah.
especially anytime. It's like as I'm saying that statement, I'm just thinking like it doesn't really matter like what's going on in the world because like we all need to take control of our thoughts. So that's one of the things that I love about you, your story, your message, your coaching, like with your clients, is really all like centered around like stop thinking this way that just is beating yourself up. Let's
Yeah. Like when people, all their negative thoughts, they're just not true. And I'm sure it doesn't occur to people that what they're thinking isn't the truth. It might seem like it, they might have validation for it, they think, but they just have to challenge those thoughts.
I love that, challenge those thoughts.
Challenge them and then do it anyway.
And then, yeah, exactly. Just do it anyway. So, what are some of the things, the benefits of us working together? You being part of In Demand.
So I'm a sole entrepreneur. So I don't have a team of people I work with. And so it is that camaraderie that you and I have. It's that place that I can go to learn what the next step is, because everything keeps changing. I don't coach the way I coached when I first started. And so I need somebody to help me keep up with what the latest trends are, how to do a Facebook Live, and the confidence to just do it. And so those are the things that are so helpful. And being able to, the learning modules where this is how you do it, piece by piece. And it's all broken down in such a way that it's easy to do that.
Thank you.
So can I tell a story?
Go right ahead.
Okay. You had said, it was last year at some point. You know what I'm going to say, don't you?
No, I don't.
Last February, it must have been, you were challenging us on the call to write a bonus check.
Oh, right. I do remember this now.
Yep.
Yeah, please tell the story because it is a great story.
So I kind of thought, yeah. I wasn't even paying myself at that time. So I thought, write a bonus check. She has to, I don't know. But I got off the call and I thought, okay, I'm going to make it a ridiculous amount. And for me, that was a $3,000 bonus check. That was a ridiculous amount. So I did that. I put it on my little lamppost so I could see it. And just the idea that it was there just kind of kept me focused and kept things in motion. And so at the end of the year, it was dated for the end of the year, I can cash that check and more.
That's I do love that story. Wasn't sure where you were going, but it's amazing, like that power of intention. Like you set that intention for,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to cash this check, which means you had to find new clients.
I
You had to
did
have,
find,
yeah,
yes.
you had to have that surplus by the end of the year. And a lot of a lot of people that are in the group wrote those checks. But I mean, I'm glad that you're sharing that with us right now, and whatever that intention is, whether it's, I want to get booked this many times, I want to, like maybe, like you're starting to raise your rates on your speaking, on your coaching. It's like all of those different things. It's just like, it's a baby step. It's a baby intention. And it's
Mm-hmm.
a baby step to keep working towards that intention.
And I also paid myself every month
Oh, I
besides.
did not know that part of the story.
Yes, I also paid my, because a bonus is what you get on top of your regular amount.
Right.
So I also did pay myself.
Congratulations.
Oh, yeah. And it was that extra motive that said, okay, if I couldn't make it when you were live, then I would look at the replay. So it was like, it was that dedication to, yep, you're going to watch that. You're going to do the work that you need to do. You're not just going to go, well, I think it's going to happen. I talked to so and so. She was kind of interested. Maybe it's going to. I mean, you're very deliberate about how you go about doing it.
And I feel like your confidence has 10x'd since I've known you. I mean, you really have gone from this, I'm shy, I don't want to get on a Facebook Live, to, like even just like asking your son, like, hey, I don't understand how to do this on my website. Somebody help me figure this out. Like you're confident in the way that you're showing up, and also in like, hey, I don't know how to do something, but I know how to ask the right person to help me.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for saying that, because I do feel like working with you has really upped my confidence, because you're always so positive and so supportive, and yet there's an edge of challenge. What do you mean you don't want to do that?
I mean, well.
You do. You don't say it like that.
Yeah,
But there's
yeah.
always that
Actually, Sandy, I do say it like that.
you move up that one more
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what would you say to anybody who is considering either joining one of my programs, whether it's in demand or private coaching, any of those? What's a piece of advice you would give somebody?
Just like in my personal coaching, somebody else can see what you're doing better than you can see it. And I think that's an advantage of working with you and learning. I mean, this is a field where we need to keep learning. We need to learn new ways to do things, and we need to, I just think it's the best money. I think it's the best money you can ever spend.
Thank
I
you.
think we have this idea that because we started a business, that we ought to be able to get it. Like, I should know how to do this. Well, it can't be that hard. I should know how to do this. You don't realize how much easier it is when somebody shows you the steps from somebody that's been there, and that's you. You show people the steps. And so I just think it's the best money that you can spend.
Thank you. And you're right. This industry, the speaking industry, really has dramatically changed over the past 2 years. One of the things, it's not just speaking's not just stages anymore. And it's not just the Zoom stage either. It's I think that there's no better time right now than to you get to build your own stage, whether that's a Facebook Live, an Instagram Live, Instagram Stories. Now, like now LinkedIn's allowing, people to do lives over there. I mean, a YouTube channel. I mean, like the list goes, I didn't even mention like TikTok. And who knows, like a year from now, like what other platforms there's going to be. And again, like these platforms can be your own personal stage.
That's what I mean. I mean, when I started speaking, it was always in front of people. It was at conferences.
Mhm.
You were always going somewhere to speak. And now this is a new world with Zoom and with all the different ways you can speak. And if it wouldn't have been for you, I don't think I would have ever considered that a Facebook Live was speaking. But it is.
It is.
Absolutely it
It
is.
is.
And a podcast is,
Mhm.
I mean, all the different ways are
All of the
speaking.
ways to get our
Yeah.
message out there.
And I need help. I do. I mean, I need help. I don't know all the ins and outs of business. I did not take any business type classes, and I need what you have to offer. And but it's done in such a way that it's easy. It's easy and manageable.
Mm, thank you. And
So you,
that's kind of like one of my things is I'm such a like here's a baby step, just like take this little step. I don't really want to
yes.
say like I dummy down the speaking industry or speaking, but
No, not
I
at
do,
all.
I do keep it in like little chunks. Like, hey, just do this thing right now. Get really good at this, and then add on the next.
Yeah. Like, have you ever taken an online course and it's just overwhelming from
Yes.
the beginning? I mean, yours isn't really an online course, but it's just like right away you go, oh my gosh, I have to do 15 things before I can move on to the next thing. And it's just like, oh, forget that. So, yeah, people need baby steps. And when they get good at that, then they can move to the next little bigger step and they gain confidence. Maybe that's where the confidence comes with every step. You get more and more confident.
And you just showing up like on like the monthly calls, like right now you're down in Florida for anybody who is watching this on the video on YouTube. She's not in her office, but again, this comes from the past couple of years getting really good of, at using the Zoom platform, which, again,
Mm-hmm.
that's been one of the benefits of the past couple of years is that, and you've got a business that, hey, I don't have to be at home. Like in my
No,
home.
in fact, on Saturday, I'm doing a retreat for a church in Minneapolis via Zoom. So,
Because
I mean, it's so fun.
it
You
is
and some of
fun.
my I have a client from Pennsylvania. I have a client from Wisconsin, which was not possible when I was meeting people face to face.
Yeah. And you've gotten much better, I think, and I know that that's something that we've worked on, inside in demand is your sales process. Like having that
Yes.
like having that sales process has also given like one you were confident you've built up your confidence, but then like I remember like on some of these calls like us talking about like your sales process so that people were compelled to, yeah, this is what I want, this is what I need, because you spoke to that
hmm
in your sales process.
Yeah. And because of you, I upped my
Yeah.
coaching packages,
Yes, I'm so proud of you.
afraid to death. And I always got new clients the minute I raised my prices.
Isn't that amazing?
It
Because
is.
you're up leveling, you're up leveling your prices, and what that is like, now people are like, oh, they kind of like yes, this
Yeah,
works for me.
people know what things cost,
Mhm.
and I think when you undervalue what you give, then people go, "Well, gee, she's a whole lot cheaper than other people. What's that about?" You know?
Right, right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. Perfect. Well, Sandy, thank you so much for coming on and like talking about this. And we're going to have links to Sandy's books and down in the show notes. But Sandy, can you just like tell everybody a little bit more about your business and where we can find you?
Okay. Well, like Laurie-Ann said, I live in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, a suburb of Minneapolis, and I do some speaking. I do coaching. That's kind of my sweet spot, I think, is the personal one-on-one coaching, because there's a lot of free stuff on the internet, but it's not pinpointed directly at you and what your issues are. And it's just so exciting to see people move from where they are to where they want to be. It just does my heart good. And I think that's my sweet spot. So you can find me at my website, Sandy Thibault, lifecoach.com. And I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn. And
We will have all of those links down in the show.
okay, thank you.
So whether you're watching this on YouTube, you can just tag down below. You'll see all the links as well. And if you're listening to the podcast, just flip to the.
I also do a blog. So if people would like to sign up for the blog, they can get 10 ways to turn negative thoughts into positive action.
Love that.
A free download.
A free download. Love that. I'll make sure that that's in the show notes as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.